Hello, this session, and today I actually want us to have a discussing all around. We've been talking about the production process. As we were looking into the production process, we did look into production, which we talked about the kind of activities, the kind of tasks that are actually so how one generates an idea from various sources that is about brainstorming with experiences. We talk about experiences. We talk about the kind of observations that we do make. We talk about the kind of research that one can do. And we also said that one can be able to channel ideas from watching other media. What is that they do? Once you look into that, then you have an idea. Once you have that particular idea, we moved onto and said, now we need to be able to move and talk about story development, and we saw how you can be able to weave a story from the beginning. And as you weave that particular story, we also did talk about changing that particular story into a script. And once you have that particular script, we talk about the news script, we talk about drama script, and we also talked about guide or the plotline, the plot script, which basically gives you direction of where are you moving from. So that if we have a kind of a program following of the script, you need basically to have a guideline. And if you have a strict kind of a program that requires you to be able to follow and use every word that stipulates, then we said that might be one, a news program, or two, it's going to be a drama. So these other programs that not strict, that do not require strict adherence to the script like that, like the talk shows, the news shows, like the reality shows, for them, they basically require that particular guideline is guide the people on where is it going to begin from and where is it going to end. So once you have that, these other things are going. Now, once you have that particular script, next thing that we did talk about is for you to do rehearsals. And we saw that for one to be able to do rehearsals, there are particular other things that need to be done. One, you need to be able to hire the right people. That's the you need to be able to have the good lighting conditions. You need to have including the cinema, camera assistants. You need to have the gaffer. You need to be able to list all sorts of manner of people as per the requirements of that particular. It now becomes the blueprint that will guide you and direct you on whom can you have on board and whom are you have on. Then we did look into um, another area that you need to be able to make rehearsals. You need to be able to give the people lines if they require lines. Cram them. After cramming them, they need to be able to reproduce them. How are they going to achieve that? That will happen if people get to do rehearsals. Where are the rehearsals going to be done? You need locations and partners. You need the production designers to be able to come up with and write and write program where the rehearsals are going to be. Once all that has been put, then we are going to have the rehearsals. Now the rehearsals are going to be telling people where this is going to happen, who is going to out, where is it going to, and where are we going to the cameras, where are the lights going to be placed, how are we going to say this, and how are we not going to say this. All these will be the rehearsals that are supposed. Now, once that is done, then the next thing that is supposed to happen is under the stage. Now, under the stage of production, this is where we have principal photography. This is where we have the actual shooting of that. This is where we have the turning of the words on the paper into the actual things that we can be able to feel and see when we are watching them. So for you to be able to have that, then you need now to have in place the services of the director, services of the lighting people, services of the cinematography, services of the artist, and the services of the actors and actresses who are going to ensure that they can lift the words from uh, the script into something that you can. There is something that is tangible. Kevin, am I clear now? Hello, Kevin. Kevin. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
You getting me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, there has to be you are in an area where there's a lot of commotion. Mom is cooking. Hello, Kevin. Kevin. So that's okay. Now I was saying that the moment you have had now the rehearsals, the next kind of activity that's meant and likely to happen is what's supposed to be under the stage of production. So under the stage of production now, you need now to be able to know
Yeah.
what does the script requires. Now, when we were talking about how you format your script, and especially when you talk about the drama script, we'll actually look down to the elements of that particular script where you need to have the scene heading, you talk about action, you talk about character, you talk about dialogue, you talk about parenthetical. Now, when we talk about um, uh, when you talk about scene heading and action, you need now to be able to show us exactly what are these things that are going to every scene requires its own action, requires its own dialogue. And if it requires its own action in dialogue, high time that under production now we can't be able to see that. So how is that going to be achieved? Now you need to understand that under production we have normally we require strictly cinematographer to be able to live to what the characters are doing on stage or on scene and be able to put them for us to be able to see those of us who will be. And how does that happen? Now, the best way that you can be able to shoot a particular scene is if we can be able, one, to do blocking. Now, blocking means that every scene has its own requirements. It has the same requirements. We need to be able to know where are we going to position the cameras, where are we going to position the lights, where are the characters going to move from and to, and how will the speed be of these characters if they will be moving back and forth or from one particular side to another. Now, when you have that in mind, then you practice it out. You rehearse it. You do this the scene lighting and see is it going to work the way you want it. You do the recording and you feel if it's going to give you the right audio that you will be able to and airing that particular program. Finally, in terms of movement, you get to understand that will the camera operators, the camera assistants, be in a position to be able to follow the movement of the characters in a particular sequence or in a particular manner that they will be moving. So when you have that and you know exactly that that's how it's going to be, that's the point when you're going to say now action. The moment you say action, the cinematographer is going to record from the beginning all the way to the end. And that's the best we can be able to we can. So it's upon you now as cinematographer and you as a director and me as a producer to be able to make the necessary arrangements that are going to make it possible for this particular scene to be. And like I've told you, you cannot be able to record in a proper manner. It's not going to be like we are moving to scene two. Now, scene two requires John and Jane, and John and Jane they're supposed to probably chase one another in the room. Then can you get into the set and chase one another, and then we record that? That cannot happen because if it's going to happen, then the lighting are going to have a lot of trouble. The camera people are going to have a lot of trouble. The recordist is going to have a lot of. We need now to be able to do blocking, and the moment we do blocking, it will be able to tell each and every individual in that particular scene what will be their work from the beginning to the end. The moment they understand and they realize what they're supposed to be doing, then it becomes paramount. It becomes really essential for them to be able to bring and that particular part. Now, in terms of blocking, in terms of rehearsing, there are two videos that I have shared. One that will be showing that one will be telling more about how rehearsals are basically. The other one that talks about blocking. They've actually used film Fatigo to be able to explain how Hitchcock was doing his blocking. You know, Hitchcock is really an authority in the area of directing, and they really understand the best thing to be. Now, for you as a cinematographer, do the proper job. And you need to be able to understand now how can you be able to shoot that particular scene. Now, scenes, they will be blocked, will present different challenges. And what will be these particular challenges? Now, one particular scene might require you to use a tripod stand. You need to be able to understand what will be the challenges that a tripod stand. Sometimes you get to realize that a tripod stand is sideways or up and down. So, what will be the best thing that you can get to realize that if there is a scene where two characters are going to come to one another without a lot of movement and fire steady shots, the best that you can be able to tripod stand. What will be of a scene where one particular character will be chasing another? Let's look into an example of Jane
Mhm.
trying to chase John in a thicket. Tumiti labda hivi ama ya kuna mahali fulani hivi, and Jane will be chasing John, and maybe they are playing a particular game, these words. What will be the best kind of camera support you could? Then you get to realize that a Steadicam now will be a biggest friend that you can be able to use. Why? Because the Steadicam will allow you to be able to attach yourself to the camera as you move, but this particular camera is going to be detached from you as much as it's going to be attached to you, and it will have something that will be able to prevent the loss of nature. That is the force of gravity. But as you will be running up and down, that particular camera is not going to move. It's going to be like it was actually on a tripod stand. Why? Because the Steadicam has been designed in a manner that defies the laws of nature. That is, it actually does not conform to the laws of gravity, that an object that has weight has to come down when it's thrown up. That does not apply when one is making. Again, what if where you'll be moving up and down, you get to realize that probably the trees might not allow you to move up and down with them. Sometimes you require to shoot something from above these particular two characters. Then you realize the best that you can be able to use is actually drone. The drone is going to enable you now to be able to move up and down, because you can be able to monitor the movement of these two characters as they are moving up and down, left, right, and center within those particular trees by the use of that particular drone. Because the moment you will be able to see them, you can direct where it's going to, where it's coming from. You can be able to tell it come back, and that will be much easier. If you get to realize that you will be recording something that is in an open space, a very flat area, and you require that dramatic movement of the camera, then you will realize that you need to be able to have a dolly that will be moving on a track. And that particular dolly is going to enable you now to be able to. How did you get to know the kind of camera support it use? That comes as a result of you knowing and being there when your director is actually giving directions and classes, when your director is actually blocking that particular thing, and that will be able to tell you the kind of camera support equipment that you need. You need to be able to be aware of the kind of lenses you're going to use.
Mhm.
Are you going to use a prime lens? Are you going to use an ultra wide lens? Are you going to use a medium telephoto lens? Are you going to use a telephoto lens? These lenses will be determined by the space available, the kind of shots that you want from that particular scene, and the distance that is there between the scene and the I mean, the scene and the camera person. Where will the camera person be? Vis-a-vis that particular scene where it's going to take place. So you need now to be able to know how all those things are going to happen so that you can capture them and filter them together. And the moment you're capable of doing that, makes your work now easier and much, much easier
Mhm.
because we as the audience, we are interested in knowing or in understanding what was happening. And for us to be able to assume that when it was happening, we were actually there. And it's not actually when that it's first, it's actually we take it that when it's being done, we are there because the camera is a representation of the audience. When these particular things are going to happen on the scene, the camera is behaving like an audience. So when we, the audience, come in and watch whatever that the camera was recording, then we take it that this is something that is happening, and that's how one can be able to shoot it. Now, as the as the producer and as the director and as the camera person or as the cinematographer, the particular things that you need to be able to have in mind because, like we said, this is a process that starts from pre-production, comes to production, goes all the way to post-production. And that, if that is what's going to happen, then you need now to be able to know a few things. Either you as a producer, or you as a director, you as but you need to do the shooting while editing in anticipation. But when you're shooting a particular scene, you're going to shoot that one knowing that at the end of the day, this is going to be edited. And if it's going to be edited, then there are particular things that you need to be able to think about. Now, those particular things that we those particular things that we need to be able to shoot while having them in mind are what I'm indicating actually here, that you need to think of composition. How are you going to compose? How are you going to compose those particular shots that you are shooting? Because you cannot make a decision that you shoot in any particular manner that you're interested in. You need to be able to compose in a manner that at the end of the day, when that is going to be edited, it shall be able to look nicely and look good under the eyes of those particular people who will be watching it. And what is this composition? Composition is the arrangement and organization of props and and characters. Actually, a shot. So, what? How are you going to arrange and organize people there? How are you going to arrange and organize the props there? For example, you might be having some chairs, you might be having some tables, might be having some other things that you need in that particular scene. How are you going to arrange them? How are you going to organize them? And if it's about the characters that you have there, the people, the actors and actresses, how are you going to arrange them? How are you going to organize them so that whoever is going to look into it finally shall be able to say that that was actually looking nicely. So how do you look? How do you achieve that? Now, position is looked into vis-a-vis lines. You're going to arrange them in straight lines. For example, if you are in a classroom, you need to be able to look into kind of people that are there and the kind of chairs and seats that are there. Some in a classroom, we normally
Mhm.
see along the rows and columns. The rows run across, and the columns run along. So you need to be able to look into that. If you don't arrange them like that, then they're not going to be good looking. Somebody to watch that will be able to say, "All these people are catching even when we want to walk into our own home, sometimes we really want to be able to walk really good organized houses. You don't go there and find a chair, find there's a mattress on the table. No, you know what's supposed to be where and how nicely can it be placed there. So when that happens like that, so we talk about lines. Sometimes you talk about colors. You don't make a decision of just putting colors there. Composition is all about how arrangements are made and how are you organized
Mhm.
your scene. If we have blue colors in the walls, then what kind of colors can we have in the props, like the chairs, the tables, and all that? What will be the colors of the clothes that will be worn by the actor and actress? So this is something that you need to be able to think about. And sometimes we talk about headroom. The headroom is basically the space
Mhm.
that is above your your head and below the end of that particular frame. So how have you looked into that? The people will actually, when they're shooting you, kata kufikia karibu na macho tu ama kukata wakishafikia kwa macho, and it will be so worse mtu akikukata kama atakukata kwa kifua kwenda juu, and you realize that when we go into editing, then what it means that is that that cannot be reversed. It cannot be able to work in any way because editing cannot bring in what was not there, but sometimes it can make what was not there, I mean, what was there disappear. So the best thing that we can be able to do is if we have um, uh, we have our camera, look into what will be the best way that we can be able to get that particular room. When we are shooting news programs, or when we are watching these news programs every single day, you will be able to see there's a space between the end of the head of that particular presenter and the beginning or the end of that particular screen up there. That space is what we call the headroom. Then the other is what you call the look room. So, the look room. We have what you call the the look room. Now, when you're talking about the look room, we are looking into that particular area. If you were shooting a particular video, and this particular individual that you're seeing is actually moving towards the towards towards the right, then there's something that you need to be able to do in order to be able to give that particular audience enough space that they can be able to look at and where is this particular individual headed. What particular the particular direction that this particular is actually that what all the group. So in composing, you can only be able to compose nice looking videos if you have created that look room and the headroom. nice space, not too small, top of the structure, and so large and not so small between the car and where they are looking toward. So that's something that you need to be able to look at, to be able to compose a well-looking produce that at the end of the day we shall be able to take into editing, not to be able to create a lot of. That is the best we can be able we can. So you to think about that seriously. As the director or to be able to, because at the end of the day it's going to affect products, and you the producer, because you are the producer now, need to be able to have that in mind, because at the end of the day if you don't work on that one, it's going to spoil the kind of work that is going to work on by the editor, where shall sit down and work on the same. So that's what you need to be able to handle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nyonyi? Hello, Wanyonyi? Nyonyi James. Nyonyi James. Nyonyi Yeah, okay. It's better to confirm that you can hear me now. And let me move again to the next area that I wanted to. Now, when you're done with composition, the next thing that you'll have to move to is cutting is how you link one shot, the other, message. How do you link? Now, in any particular video that we are shooting, we do not shoot for the sake of. You cannot be able to not have in every scene a master that will shoot from the beginning or to the end without cutting at a particular point. But what it means that at any given time when we'll be doing the shooting, we'll be able to have like let's take of we have two characters. We have Annie James and Dunda Kevin. These two characters are in a class. Now they happen to be very good friends. Good friends. Then the story you want to tell about them is that and allow me to use this because this is classwork. James usiende kusema mwalimu alinitusi ama Ndunda
Okay.
usiende kusema mwalimu alinitusi. It does happen that
It's okay.
Ken and James are very good friends, but now James is actually a thief. He has actually plotted to be able to steal a phone that belongs to Kevin. And when it happens, he's going to do this. We need now to be able to, how can we be able to shoot that from the beginning all the way to the end? Now, what is going to happen is to have Kevin into class, getting seated there, and starting to read probably a particular novel. As he reads this novel, he will be placed. He will actually place his phone on another seat that is actually next to him. Then, a few minutes, James is going to walk in, and as he walks in, you'll be able to sit in, at the back, not here at the back, but you'll sit behind Kevin. As he sits behind Kevin, you look to James, look to Kevin, sorry, and see that Kevin is not keen on knowing where the phone is. Then you'll be able to, James will be able to pick it, put it on his pocket, behave like he has forgot something outside, walk out, hide that particular phone, then come back to class. Now, when you see the series of these particular events, Jen walking in, taking this particular phone and going and hiding it, you're able to have now different shots so that you're able to tell what message. So what you will see walking in, getting the people a shot of the seat next to see another shot of the novel that you'll be reading. And once that, then you're able to have a shot of James walking. James walks in, then we'll be able to follow him. He sits. He sits. We'll follow his face. Where does he look? He looks at the phone. We'll cut and we'll be able to look into the. We'll have a shot of the phone. We'll go back and face and see where does he look. What's the reaction of his. When we see that particular of his, then we will be able to follow again where he looks unto James. He's not really at Kevin. He looks unto Kevin. Kevin seeing that I will be able to this particular phone. He sees that Kevin is not really aware of his end. When he picks the phone, he go into another shot. Now James puts this particular phone in the pocket. When he puts the phone in the pocket, he walks out. When he walks, that will be cut. Will go to Kevin. When you see those particular kind of cuts of shots from one particular point to the other. This starts here, ends here. Starts here, ends here. And what that means, therefore, is that one will be able to lead us, two will be able to lead us to three, will be able to lead us to four. Then we shall be able to have the entire story. Now the phone. When that happens like that, then it has taken into consideration. You as the producer, you as the editor, you as the cinematographer or videographer or the camera person, you need to be able to know how and when are you cut. And how are you going to link these particular or shots so that at the end of the day, they can be able to tell that particular story that you intended. And this will actually us to talk about something that we call continuity. But we need to be able to find a way that the shots that we've been and how well they are composed, they can be able to give us continuity. There's no way we can see him walking into class, then James following him, then that happens to disappear like that. And later we shall be seeing now Kevin walking out without us knowing where James went. There's no continuity there. Continuity, we know is an order. There's that logical sequence thing that one is going to lead us to the other, and that will be able to take us like that all the way to the end. So those are things that we need to be able to know how they work, and when they work like that, how best can they be able to help us tell stories, because that's something that we need to be able to during production. If it doesn't happen in production, there is another time that you can be able to have them. Once we have this, then you need now to be able to know. You need now to be able to know how are you going to put this raw footage together and be able to take particular draw it to the editor, and it's going to be the work of the editor, who is to be advised by you, the producer, be advised and supported by you, the camera operator, cinematographer, and supported by you as the person who was directing this particular production. So when that's going to happen now, the director is going to take it to another level. So in a nutshell, these are the things that I did. And these are the things that we have talked about the entire production stage. That for that stage to happen and act in a manner that we can be able to lose track of what we were doing from the beginning, you need to be able to do proper rehearsals. Once you have done the rehearsals, you need to be able to do blocking. You cannot shoot from the beginning all the way to the end. Blocking will enable you to do one after the other, one scene after another. Once you have done the blocking, then you need now to do the lighting. Once you've done that lighting, you can be able now to do the shooting. This shooting will ensure what you asked, what you blocked, what you are doing the lighting on has been put together, and it's something that even if it's not good, we can be able to sit down and look at it and say, this is the message from this particular production. Once you have that, then this shooting has to ensure that it actually meets particular standards. So what are particular standards? The standards are lead to proper composition. We have said composition is basically the arrangement and organization of the various props that you have and the various characters that you have within that particular scene. Scene is between James Wanyonyi and Kevin Ndunda. Then these two people must be organized and arranged in a manner that is the people will be it. You cannot place them in a sad manner. If you think about props could be the seats, they could be tables, they could be sufurias, they could be the panga and the marungu in the house. How do you organize particular in the house so that when I'm looking into that one, I appreciate it's a nicely arranged house? Because any we see, we have never seen unless it's the shooting where you see, and I think it's your way of doing things. Mtu anatafuta nyumba ambayo iko imeezekwa kwa nyasi, hapo ndio watu wanafanyia shooting, na ukiangalia yenyewe pangwa haijapangwa. The problem is kama ni bedroom ipangwe vizuri, mattress ikae place, bed sheets zipangwe vizuri. You cannot a mattress ikiwa imeingia living room na imewekelewa juu ya meza, that will not be a proper arrangement unless that's how that's where the mattress is going to be placed. So those are things that you need to be able to look into. That's under composition. That in that particular shot that you are going to see, how are you going to arrange and organize the props and the characters? And for you to be able to do a proper job, then able to about that you'll be using. Like I've told you, if we are talking about a classroom, we normally arrange seats in rows and columns. That's the best you can do. And we are saying position to have it look like a triangle. But a triangle looks well and much better as compared to how you can be able to dot them in the class. One is here, another one there, another one is actually on top of another one, unless the script that is the arrangement that you should be able to have. If we talk colors, how you cannot have all white in terms of the walls. The clothes that I want to be worn by the characters also are also white. And you happen to find that the character's skin tone is so dark. You make them ghosts. So you must be able to look into which particular colors that you can be able to, and you get that even when we talk about colors, cameras normally appreciate particular colors. Camera will appreciate a single camera as compared to somebody who is wearing something that is spotted here yellow, here another white, black, there striped. That one the camera never appreciates. But if you're going to be in total black, I mean the color black, it will be much better. If it will be a single color white, that will be much. Those are things that you need to be able to look. Then we talk about the head. That space that we have the head, the end of the screen. That space ukifunga vizuri, usimalize na usipeane nyingi sana. We talk about the loom direction, character facing. Create that particular space. That's what we call composition. Then we talk about cutting is where you look into one particular shot is going to be joined with another kind of a shot and be joined onto another shot, cut of a shot, sorry. Then when you arrange those shots like that, they will be able to tell now a particular message that they're linking one with two, with three, four, then we can make a connection. Finally, this is and that goes hand in hand what we call continuity. Hatuwezi tukaona anatembea kutoka akienda ingia ndani ya darasa then the time akiwa ametokaje shule mpaka akiingia. It's a question that we might not, but question that the best is a link between the first, the second, and the third is that message in a logical sequence. That will be the best way of how we tell our story. And that will present us with a very good short video that now we can be able to take from the stage of production and into the stage of production where we are supposed to be doing the editing. So up to that particular point, I think I expressed myself. If there's a question, I will really be able to take it and respond to it. And
Yeah.
be able to see it. That's all. So, James?
Yeah.
Sorry. Kevin?
No, I have a question.
Oh, you don't have a question?
Yeah.
James Wanyonyi? Mwami? Mwami James Wanyonyi? Swali?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, do you have a question?
James amejoin na listening.
Amejoin na listen tu peke yake.
Yeah.
Okay, so to that particular point.
Not microphone.
Or not the mic. So
Yeah.
I can see he's trying to type something. Let me see what he's trying to type. Yes, you can ask a question. Yes, on the basis of blocking. Now, let me use the screen so that we can be able to see what I'm referring to. Blocking. Now, I want us to be able to see this particular the screen that we have. Let's assume this is a classroom. Particular classroom, it's actually in this particular design, and this is where we have the door. We have the door right here. Now, this is where James is going to walk in, and when he walks in, we have the board here. Hapa ndio mwalimu anasimama. Then right here we having rows of seats. Zitakuwa tatu. That. So if they like that, when you win, you know to where I'm going to come from and where are you going to before you're able to do. Now, in terms of composition, we have this particular room this particular manner that we have these rows, and we are will be have it like that. So what's going to be here now? We will have where Kevin walked into this particular room and actually sat somewhere here. This is where came in and sat. He will be facing a particular direction, the direction that he will be facing. He will face phone is just behind him, because you know when he comes in, he realizes that he's alone, so he has worry that somebody at the back will take what. So when he places the phone somewhere here, he's going to come here and probably come and walk walk the direction and sit at this particular point here. So this is where James is going to come and do what? And sit. So when he comes and sits there, the next thing that we do is now how are we going to pick on from here? So when this particular phone here, he's going to stand and walk out like that, and this is the one. This is the walking out. Now you need to be able to know that these are times you need to be able to observe that when he walks in, he walks along the line, here, sits, he stands from this particular seat and connects post. So where are you going to place the camera? One, we are likely to have camera position somewhere here. This particular camera will be able to observe the things that will be happening along that direction. And two, we'll have another camera somewhere here, which will be able to tell us how James picks that, and not really up to that, but to show us all the way to that particular direction there. So these two cameras can make us know when James walks in, what and he goes. When Kevin walks in, where is he and what he starts to do, So those are the things we need to be able to look at. And now, from the beginning of this particular scene up to the end of this particular scene, that's how you block it. When they start knowing it, you'll be able to do it like that, and that's how you'll be able to shoot it. Sir James. Yes, yes, yes. Now, the triangle and the circles, can I say they are used to describe emotions? Now, when you talk about what the kind of message that you would want to drive, normally there are ways of how can people to achieve that. If,
Mm-hmm.
if for example, if for example you wanted to be able, because this is visual storytelling, you wanted now to be able to place um, the arrangement of the six other props in this particular design here. This is basically a triangle, so that we can have one particular individual seated here. We have another one who is going to be seated here. We have another one who is actually seated here. I try to tell a message of that these basically are these are basically uh, these are basically we that's a message that I want to tell. But you know, when they're facing one another, we are trying to create an environment that we are telling people um, these people are not new to one another. These people are actually close contacts. That's something you can be able to achieve. Depend on how you make a decision to arrange and organize your location. So it's all about creativity. I can make a decision to use this and tell a different. You can also make a decision to use this and tell a different message. For example, if I make a decision to be able to use colors, I'll use red, and this particular red to me can mean somebody can make the color red to mean. So in that setup, what is the message that you'd want to pass across? Somebody will use yellow for a particular message, and somebody is going to come in and use the color white to communicate a different word message. So it all depends when you're composing your how do you compose them? What colors do you make decisions to use, and what kind of message would you want to communicate at the end of the day? Pastor James. So up to that particular point, I'm going to stop it at. I've shared with you up to about 2, 3 videos. You will be able to watch them. They will be able to give you more information on blocking, more information on pesos, and they will be able to tell you exactly how do you need to be able to compose um,
Yeah.
shots that are able to tell the message that you intend to tell that particular audience that you have in mind. Because our ultimate goal is actually to tell a particular message. Enjoy your remaining part of the evening, and let's meet next time when we have another class. I would want to be that you've seen the card that you created, and you can be able to that before time elapses.
Okay. Yeah.
You are currently the only person in this conference.